Welcome everyone to the Endgame Finance. Today we have a lot of exciting news about Rivian. Rivian CFO Claire McDonough at 2023 Global Automotive Summit has shared a lot of information about the future of the company. She specifically went over Rivian's Q1 production numbers and delivery results. She's also updating us on the progress of Rivian's next generation drive unit, how Rivian is navigating supply chain challenges, plans to positive gross profit in 2024, and Rivian's competitive differentiation from other companies. State of Rivian partnership with Amazon was covered as well. All of these links, all of this information will be linked below. Summary is directly from the Rivian forums, and I will leave a link below. So we have an update on Rivian supply chain bottlenecks. One of their biggest bottlenecks was powertrain semiconductors, which was resolved for the most part with the introduction of the Enduro motors. Now, this is the Rivian's own battery motor that's going into their vehicles. So the production for Q1 was actually slowed down. So these motors can be incorporated into vehicles that will be produced from now on. So even though Rivian posted a slightly weaker numbers, they did still around 8,000 deliveries. And that's considering their production line was down for implementation of their own motor, which will reduce the bottlenecks, which will improve their speed for the mass production of their vehicles. She also stated that the Enduro motor can be more flexibly sourced. So like we said, the bottlenecks they were facing are now behind them. And they will actually enter into a semiconductor surplus situation at the second half of this year. In 2024, Rivian expects to build around 85,000 R1 variants. Current capacity at the plant in Normal, Illinois is 150,000 units, and they will most likely reach this capacity within 2 years. So they're moving pretty fast. They do 20,000 units, they will do 50 to 62,000 this year, and they will do around 85 plus next year. So we see there's a huge ramp on of their production. Their vehicles are just flying off the shelf. The Rivian relationship with Amazon, as quoted by CFO, she says it remains incredibly strong. However, their exclusivity deal through 2026 will be enforced. This means Amazon will not allow Rivian to sell their EDVs, their electric delivery vans, to any other company. This is sort of a bad news for Rivian because they're selling these vans at a loss to Amazon because they made these deals before inflation just skyrocketed, before all the supply chain bottlenecks. So if Rivian had the opportunity to sell these EDVs to other companies, they would have sort of broken even because they could have sold them at a higher price to FedEx, UPS, USPS, DHL, and others. In 2026, Rivian will begin their R2 buildup. Their factory will have initial capacity of 200,000 vehicles produced annually. And they hope to ramp that up to over 400,000 units annually. Miniature SUVs will be available in around 2 years. And Rivian is really stating that they want to build this out step by step without any bottlenecks, without any problems they encountered on their R1 production, where their supply chains were really constrained. Inflation really impacted it, overall prices. So they're planning to do this in 2026, mostly, in my opinion, so they can do this very carefully and build this out without any issues and just mass scale produce these vehicles. Rivian also expects average selling price to increase over time because consumers are actually opting for higher priced packages. So even though Rivian is a really expensive vehicle, consumers are adding so much additional stuff, they're bumping up the prices to way over $100,000 per unit. And Rivian sees an opportunity to make top-end pricing even better. So Rivian will most likely start offering even more options that will boost their margins, it will boost their overall profitability. When it comes to R2, most premium R2 pricing will likely be less than the cheapest R1 pricing. So R2 platform is expected to be fairly cheap, guys. And unit economics plan from day one to be more normal. So like I was saying, they will have controlled production. So there will be no shortages of parts. So as they ramp up their Enduro motors, their own electric motors, as well as other parts, they will have that ramp ready for 2026. So as soon as the Georgia Atlanta plant is completed, it's all completely built out, it will be mass producing vehicles without any issues, without any bottlenecks, without any problems whatsoever. However, they do know that R2 premium vehicles will be going out first. So if you're opting out for more expensive vehicles, they will try to get those out faster and faster, faster than any other units, so they can reach their profitability. And they're hoping to reach profitability fairly soon. So Rivian expects gross profit positivity, or gross profit positive in second half of 2024, which is next year. And they hope to achieve this in part. 2/3 of this will be achieved by higher volumes. So they will be mass producing vehicles more and more, selling them in more expensive options. And 1/3 of this positive gross profit will be achieved through reduced material costs. Like we were just saying, Enduro motors will be a lot cheaper for them because they're built in-house, and they will be most likely be building their own batteries as well. They will be renegotiating supplier contractors, because now they have that ability. Now they're mass producing, so they can actually renegotiate their contracts because they're buying a lot more from these contractors. They're buying a lot more from these suppliers. So all of this will boost revenues, it will boost profitability, and it will lead to gross profit. They will be gross profit positive in the second half of next year. So they're also noting that pre-order pricing will be largely exhausted and fulfilled in 2023. So their backlog of 100,000 plus R1 vehicles will be fully completed and will be fully sent to customers. So this is really good news. People will no longer have to wait years and years to get their vehicles. And like they just noted right here, back order was the single biggest deterrent for customer placing reservations. That is the reason they stopped reporting reservation numbers, because reservation numbers were so huge. There were 100,000, maybe even 200,000 vehicles that were just in the backlog. So people do not want to place an order because no one wants to wait 2 to 3 years to get their vehicle. Also, Rivian CFO commented on their tax credit situation. It's very difficult to get the tax credits for R1 vehicles because they're very high-end premium cars. These are the top end of the end. These are comparable to Mercedes and maybe even Maybach. And they most likely, well, not most likely, they will not qualify for the tax incentives. However, if people do order fleets, so if a company orders 100 R1S or R1Ts to use in their businesses, these vehicles will qualify. Clear actually specifically mentions that R2s are built from the start with battery sourcing in mind so that customers can actually qualify for the full $7,500 tax refund. So this is good news. They're thinking about their customers, and they are preparing to mass produce this car to make it absolutely affordable to almost every consumer that is on the market for a cheaper SUV. Lastly, the Rivian CFO mentions that up to 80% of the costs for their build-out for the charging networks will be recouped via federal funding. So they will get tax credits to build out their RAN network, and they will mass produce their charging stations starting in 2024, so they can qualify for these tax incentives. So it will basically be only 20% of the total cost they have to pay to build out hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of charging stations, and they will go fast in building this out. There will be thousands of RAN network stations all over the country. They will most likely, well, not most likely, they will have to open this to other companies. So Teslas, Nissans, Hyundais, they will have access to Rivian RAN network to their charging stations. However, Rivian will be making revenue on those charging sessions from Tesla and others. Lastly, Rivian CFO mentions they will not be building another high-end variant. A lot of people are expecting Rivian to build another off-roader, an even bigger truck, an even more expensive truck than R1S and R1T, which are already fairly expensive. However, they're not doing that as of now. They will most likely wait for their build-out of R2s. And after that build-out is complete, they will probably think about building an even more expensive vehicle. So that's it, guys. Lots of news for Rivian this week. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, how you guys feel about the company and their competition. And as always, guys, like, subscribe, and share, and have a great day.